the ocean is not going to remain a desert forever, but we need GAMS. We need a research community development hub to help us rebuild our relationship with the ocean in a more intelligent way than we did the last time. So it's the key to the future. It's why I support it. It's my hope that this will become one of the great anchors of not just our village, but the whole coast.
GAMS is a very good business investment because the environment is increasingly a big part of our everyday life, our world, and therefore business. And the truth is, no environment, no business.
GAMS is currently operating out of this temporary building on Grand Etang Harbour on the west coast of Cape Breton. GAMS is a cooperative that has been operating for the past 10 years with a board and advisory board composed of fishermen, community members, and scientists. Among other projects, research has focused on the locally valuable species, the development of new marine resources, the effects of climate change, and invasive species on the local fisheries. GAMS plans to build an exciting new facility, the Gulf Marine Center, in this busy fishing village. The new building, located on the waterfront, will integrate world-class aquarium exhibits of the ecosystems of this large and diverse estuary with research space for students, universities, and industry.
Do you want to hold it? No.
Today, children enjoy the touch tanks, but in the future, visitors will watch jellyfish, schools of fish, and the many creatures that make their home in the Gulf in large exhibit tanks, while scientists will use research tanks to study their habits and the effects of changes to their ecosystems. Cool and fresh seawater continuously pumped from outside the harbor will make the inhabitants of both types of tanks feel right at home. To explain the case for the new Gulf Marine Center is the founder and president, Gretchen Noyes Hull.
Our dream is to build a full-scale building that will house a research center and an aquarium on the Gulf of St. Lawrence, the southern Gulf. We will be having running seawater tanks that will allow research on all the species and the ecosystems of the southern Gulf, and that same running seawater system will support large-scale touch tanks and an aquarium for visitors. We are in Grand Etang Harbour, which is here on the west coast of Cape Breton Island, just south of the Cape Breton Highlands National Park. This is the Gulf of St. Lawrence. This is the river coming into the estuary of the Gulf of St. Lawrence, which is known as the Gulf. And this is the exit out into the Atlantic Ocean. There is a marine station that the University of New Brunswick in Moncton runs up here in Shippagan. There's another marine station with aquarium up near Grossmoor National Park. These two places, if you can imagine drawing a line from each of those two places, they intersect right here in Grand Etang. It's our mission to create an aquarium and research station right here at the entrance of the deep water into the Gulf.
The mission of the Gulf Area Marine Station is threefold. First, education. Here, Project Director Amanda Gallant manages a regular event with the GAMS 30-meter seine net with the enthusiastic participation of local families from Grand Etang and Sherika. They collect local species from Sherika Harbour and record the data for later analysis.
GAMS is important in terms of sustainability because the organization gathers research and works with local people in order to get current data regarding climate change, regarding sustainability issues. This data at a local level is critical in order to achieve global objectives for sustainability and combating climate change.
Second, research. Here, Graham Ripley, a summer co-op student, collects species from the Grand Etang Inner Harbour and explains the significance of this green crab, a very invasive species.
This particular crab is what we were looking for, the green crab. And they're initially from Europe and the Mediterranean, and they have a really negative impact on the ecosystem here, like across Nova Scotia, as well as Shea Camp. And their biggest threat, they're a big threat to eelgrass because when they're foraging and burrowing for food, they're cutting the stems or digging up the roots of the eelgrass, reducing the amount of eelgrass that's in the Camp Harbour and the Grand Etang Harbour.
Amanda Gallant explains why eelgrass is so important to the local fishery.
So my study is working with this stuff, which is the eelgrass, and it's ecologically very important because it builds beds, and these beds are the nurseries for commercial fish species as well as non-commercial fish species. And when these beds aren't healthy or they're being impacted by something, it's all the species, the fish species, the crab, the lobster, even the oysters and mussels that are impacted. So I'm studying to make sure that they're healthy, that it's not changing, and we are connected with other universities and affiliations around the world through an organization that also studies these eelgrass beds, seagrassnet.org. And it's great. They train us, and we all around the world keep track of the health of these beds. They're a major oxygen producer for the water and help bring the oxygen content up for all the living species.
Myself, I go out on my vessel 2 times a week, take water samples, so we get to see what's going on out there and just get together and share our knowledge. So, the more research we can do, the better it would help us down the road to sustain what we're allowed to catch. You know what I mean? I don't want to go catch the last fish, but I want to be able to catch what I'm allowed to catch.
And third, community. Here at St. Francis Xavier University, GAMS is hosting the 5th Annual Fishermen's Forum. Stakeholders like fish harvesters, scientists, and funding agencies spend 2 days discussing challenges and changes.
So it's extremely important when it comes to this kind of situation. There are so many different groups working on the fishery from so many different aspects. There's the commercial side, there's obviously the WWFs, there's DFO, there are the fishing organizations, and there are the big corporations, you know, so there are so many different aspects to it. If we're not talking to each other to make sure that we're maintaining a sustainable resource, but learning about it as we go, it's difficult to make sure that we've got a sustainable resource out there. So networking in situations like this, in a forum like this, we have a prime opportunity to chat and know what each different arm or leg or ligament is doing in this whole process, in the entire fishery. So it's definitely important to get together with people that you haven't talked to in the past.
The last word on this exciting project goes to Gretchen Noyes-Hull.
So we're planning to build an aquarium. It will be associated with a research field station. Both of them depend on a fresh running seawater pumped from the ocean in to supply the tanks. So we're going to combine those two together, and actually to be able to show some of the visitors to the aquarium how the science is being done, and it's all going to happen.